Okay. We are live. We are live. Give it a couple minutes, guys. Give it a couple minutes. Or seconds. Hold on. Okay. Welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I am your host, Carlito Santiago, and today we're here to talk about what went down on Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, a lot of things advertised. Randy Orton looking for his next victim, even though he's on the pathway to WrestleMania. Jelly Roll took on Kit Wilson. An update on Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. The Bella Twins take on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And Julia takes on Tiffany Stratton. So, no more Mr. Viper. No more Mr. Nice Guy. After the usual shots of superstars walking backstage, we got a video package showing Randy Orton's attack on Matt Cardona last week. This led to the Viper making his way to the ring. He spoke about turning on Cody Rhodes a couple of weeks ago and how he has been thinking about his 15th World Championship a lot for the past few years. Cardona came down to the ring and immediately went after Orton with a mic as a weapon. The segment ended somewhat abruptly with Cardona yelling at Orton as he recovered outside of the ring. Not only did the segment not accomplish anything or give us any new information, but it ended in the middle of the confrontation. Even if it leads to more later in the show, it felt like too sudden, a way to cut off the segment. Now, had you have had Cody come out, right, this would have felt a little interesting, but now they're using Cardona in the same way that they did John Cena versus Kane here, using Zack Ryder, but again, that was more of like a love interest type thing with Eve Torres and John Cena, But anyway, it still doesn't matter. This shit did not accomplish anything, and it gets a C, and I agree with this grading. Why cut off with this shit, Why not get Cardona out here, Why not get Cardona calling out the Viper, and the Viper fucking striking, Like, why didn't we do that? Why did we have Orton have to cut a promo? I think Cardona should have came out, called out Orton for last week's attack, Nobody would have gotten a reaction for Cardona, but still, the energy that he could have brought, would have been there. But, have the Viper strike again and beat the fuck out of Cardona, but still, anyway, whatever. The Bella Twins took on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, especially from what happened, I believe, a week ago. The first match was Nikki Bella and Brie Bella taking on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Both teams failed to defeat the tag champs in recent weeks, so they were hoping a win would put them back on track. Before the match could begin, Nia Jax and Lash Legend came out to watch from ringside and talk a little trash about the women in the ring. The Queen had the upper hand at first, but once Bella tagged in, the Bellas took control as the show went to a break. Came back because the Bellas weren't working as heels, but they were using some dirty tactics here and there. Everyone put in a good effort, but this was booked as a cookie-cutter match. They followed a similar pattern of offense. Lash Legend and, of course, Nia Jax being there made it obvious that this would be some interference. But Nikki and Brie would end up getting the win when Lash Legend nailed Bliss while the referee was distracted, allowing Brie to roll her up for the victory. The champs came in and destroyed everyone after it was over. Even Bayley and Lyra Valkyria ran down to make the save. Now, something to mention here too. No notable moments, but Nick Aldis told Sami Zayn that there wasn't room for him on the WrestleMania card, and he was talking to Trick Williams, and Trick had to run his little mouth like he usually does, which led to Sami Zayn punching Trick Williams knocking him out. Orton demanded a match against Cardona when he ran into Nick Aldis backstage. Aldis booked it as long as Orton went and found something to keep him busy. Flair got the full promo for entrance this week. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Anyway. We get to this feud, and honestly, this is one of the feuds that will not main event WrestleMania at all. Rhea Ripley versus B-Fab. After congratulating R-Truth and Damian Priest on becoming the tag champs, now, it was a funny segment backstage. Rhea Ripley was like, "Hi, Poppy," and of course, showing up with Jelly Roll in the back, and it was like, "Hey, Judgment Day back on track. Hey, there's Mommy and Dom." I hope the Morgan don't find out about that. It was just so goddamn, it was so funny. But anyway, what followed next was fucking stupid. Rhea Ripley made her way to the ring to address Michin and B-Fab, joining forces with Jade Cargill last week. Jade, B-Fab, and Michin came out to respond, but the crowd was booing so loud that Ripley had trouble hearing them from the stage. This led to Ripley and B-Fab agreeing to have a singles match. The bout was in progress when the show returned from a break. Ripley was firmly in control until Cargill attacked her to cause immediate DQ. We got less than a minute of an actual match on television, guys. A 3-on-1 attack happened, and this advanced the storyline a bit, but the match was barely even classified as a match. And it ended in DQ. Two of the worst fucking things to have. No wonder it is an F. Graded an F. It's not even a fucking considerable, classable match. It's not even a fucking match. Why not just have Rhea Ripley be a dominant beatdown of Michin and B-Fab? Like, this just doesn't... Oh my god, this makes no fucking sense. Triple H, step up the storytelling! Step it up! What the fuck? Jesus Christ. This is what you do with Rhea Ripley? Oh my god, I think every woman in this feud fucking hates it. They're gonna lie and say, of course they do. Now, honestly, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Losing the weight and getting himself trained to face in a match, Kit Wilson took on Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll had his first singles match this week as he stepped into the ring of the man who keeps on preaching about there being a lot of toxic masculinity. It is Kit Wilson! Before the bout got started, Wilson grabbed the mic and wanted to recite some more poetry to defend the honor of his mother. He ended up hitting Jelly Roll with his poetry book instead. Jelly avoided a drop kick and hit a atomic drop, followed by a reverse atomic drop and some jabs. Wilson hit a running uppercut to regain the upper hand, but it didn't last long because the Grammy-winning musician kicked out of Wilson's finisher before hitting a chokeslam to get the victory. We knew this was going to be a comedy match before it started, but credit where credit is due. Wilson put just enough effort into this as he would any match, and Jelly Roll made sure he didn't screw up anything. This wasn't good, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. So you know what? We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And before this too, Danhausen cursed Wilson backstage. Jelly also hit a belly-to-belly, and we called it the jelly-to-belly. So, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to change the grade on this one, and I'm going to give it a C. So it's not a C-, it's a C. It wasn't good, but not as nearly as bad. I still think the benefit of the doubt matters, and I still think that credit is credit where credit's due. Wilson was building up to this whole fucking, charade. And of course, we finally got Jelly Roll in a match. Here you go. C. Carmelo Hayes had an impromptu United States Championship match. Carmelo Hayes held another United States Open Challenge this week. He was shown talking to Tama Tonga backstage before heading to the ring, but it ended up being Sami Zayn who answered the call. Trick Williams came out to watch after being blindsided by Zayn backstage earlier in the show, even though he was a little distracted by Williams. Zayn was able to take control early in the match. It didn't take long for them to make this the best thing on the show so far, and it only got better as they continued. Zayn is a lauded veteran, and Carmelo Hayes is one of the best stars in SmackDown, so they found their groove immediately. Williams tossed the belt into the ring, but the referee threw it out. Williams accidentally hit Mello while the referee was distracted, allowing Sami Zayn to hit his finisher for the win, and new United States Champion and will be defending the title at WrestleMania against Trick Williams, Sami Zayn. Now, I read some things on the internet and I really did not like this. I did not like this at all. Okay? And it started to grow on me now after reading it. Ace of Pro Wrestling, I can agree with you on this. The fact that 20 days, we're 20 fucking days away from, we are 20 days away from WrestleMania. You have Carmelo Hayes, one of your top stars on SmackDown, drop the U.S. title belt and not even get a chance to perform at fucking WrestleMania. 2 matches were actually made for this, so I want to pull up the notes here, okay? We have 2 matches, and one of them is Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. I hope this gets changed into the ladder match that I originally pitched, because I think it matters to have Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Johnny Gargano, fucking The Miz, or, whoever is in the mid-card, fucking get them in a U.S. title match, like in a ladders. Get it a ladders, we need a ladders match. I always advertise a ladder match for SummerSlam and WrestleMania, but WrestleMania needs it. You need something, because this is bullshit. And I feel bad for Carmelo Hayes, man. I really do. I feel bad for Carmelo Hayes having to drop the title But I hope there's something in plan for him. I hope there's something more coming after this. I believe in Carmelo Hayes, and I hope that there's more for Carmelo Hayes. Congrats to Sami Zayn, though. But I want there to be more. I want there to be more than what Nick Aldis confirmed. You know, this being just a one versus one. Because we ain't getting a fucking tag team match. Other than the women's tag team match, you're not getting a men's tag team match. I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, They Can Barely Walk. Sounds like a fucking album cover. Sounds like an album title. A battered and bruised Jacob Fatu came to the ring to address what happened last week with McIntyre, who was also in the building. After he took a moment to say what he needed to say, the Scottish Warrior showed up on the stage looking even more beat up than Fatu. Aldis joined them and booked an unsanctioned match at WrestleMania so they wouldn't have to worry about any countouts or disqualifications. A little bit better than a last man standing. Almost close, a little bit. But this was a simple but effective segment, and this, if you had just kicked off the show with this would have been fucking better. Right? The antes are, we knew this match was coming, but having a special stipulation ups the ante a bit more. So, B-. Great. Perfect. Tiffany Stratton took on Julia. We knew that this was going to happen. But Tiffany Stratton had a quick encounter backstage with Chelsea Green before she came out to the match with Julia. This was a non-title bout, but Stratton was hoping to earn a title shot by getting the win. The first half of this was a pretty standard back and forth exchange, but the champion found herself on defense as the show cut to a break. They had some roadblocks along the way, but most of what we got in this bout was decent. Julia always throws everything she has into her matches, but sometimes the chemistry just isn't there. And for this one, the chemistry wasn't really there. But I believe that when it comes to in-ring skill, and I want this to be for like anybody, you know, who's been in the professional wrestling, like in the ring, or who's ever done mat wrestling. You need to find that chemistry with somebody. Obviously, there's a mutual respect between you two at the beginning of this. Obviously, because you know this is, you know, impromptu, and this is, or not impromptu, but like predetermined. So, this chemistry that these wrestlers have to have is they have to be able to, you know, it's like reading, it's like following up. It's like reading a line, you know, like even actors too. It's like, you know, you have to follow a sequence. And each sequence has to hit its mark and hit its spots. And you both have to have that understanding with each other. You know, obviously, one of the biggest things in the ring, too, is that you have to be able to keep each other in the ring safe. But at the same time, like, call the spots. You know, the spot, like, the referee's supposed to help the wrestlers, you know, call the spots here. Like, okay, you're going to be going to the top rope soon. So get ready to go to the top rope, you know, fucking, and it's the chemistry. It's just the two have to be able to be in the ring and do amazing stuff with each other, like back and forth, you know, exchanges. Like they said here, it's a pretty standard back and forth. But again, sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. So you have to have that field of like that mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna do this spot. You know, I got to make sure my opponent's ready to take it, and then whenever she does, or he does, vice versa. The Beautiful Madness was able to pull off the win with a little help from Kiana James at ringside. Julia, of course, defeated Tiffany Stratton with a C+. Chelsea Green continues to make every second that she's on the screen matter. She and Tiffy would be a great team if they were ever both heels at the same time. That'd be perfect. That would be perfect, you know. Matt Cardona took on Randy Orton. Yep, this main event is brought to you by I'm Not Finished. Matt Cardona's big old fucking shit here. Anyway, this week's main event was brought to you by, of course, Call of Duty Mobile. No, I'm kidding. It was a match between Randy Orton and Matt Cardona. That was booked following their fight in the early show. Cardona ran into the ring, and immediately Randy Orton stomped the shit out of him, okay? But he fought back with a cast on his arm. Once the Viper regained his footing, he started started ripping and tearing Cardona apart near the announce table. He focused on punishing the arm he already injured last week. He ripped Cardona's cast off and dished out more punishment to his in his trademark slow, methodical way. It may not have been exciting to watch, but it was effective in making Orton look like a villain. At the same time, he finally finished Cardona off with an RKO to get the win after he had decided he'd done enough damage. Now, of course, the celebrating couldn't go on because Cody Rhodes arrived to the arena. And of course, he showed up and they got into a brawl with Cody. He got into a brawl with Cody Rhodes. So, of course, here, we can tell you right now, Rhodes marched his way to the ring, came face to face with his old friend, started brawling. Some security members came out. Jelly Roll came out to play Peacemaker, but he ended up getting RKO'd for his troubles. So, this is great, a C+, all the way around, a C+, for this entire fucking thing. Even Cody coming out, making the save, or trying to brawl with Orton, that didn't even fucking help either. Like, I hope that this feud between Cody and Orton is not the main event. I hope that Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vakir gets the main event for night one at this point. Because Randy and Cody do not deserve it right now. With everything that is going on here, I like the Liv Morgan fucking Stephanie Vakir better than the Orton and Cody Rhodes shit. I mean, obviously, I love Punk and Roman Reigns more than Cody and fucking, Randy. But that's a given. And I hate Cargill and fucking I hate Jade Cargill and fucking Rhea Ripley's feud. It's just garbage. It's but following, if I had put it sooner, main event night 2, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Main event night 1, Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vakir. It has to be. It cannot be Orton and Cody Rhodes. It cannot be. It just can't. Because the story is not there. It's not hitting. It's not hitting like it's supposed to. Because WWE's not writing he's not writing Orton's character out properly. Obviously we know Orton was going to turn on Cody Rhodes. It was just a matter of time. But what the fuck? So, while it had some high points, this week's SmackDown was one of the more lackluster shows in recent memory. The only match that stood out was Sami Zayn and Carmelo Hayes. So if there's anything to go check out Carmelo Hayes and Sami Zayn. And if you like comedy, a little bit of comedy wrestling, go check out Jelly Roll defeating Kit Wilson. Everything else was either mediocre or felt like a waste of time. Jelly Roll seems to be getting more active with the WWE, so we should expect to see him pop up more in the future. Just like we saw Bad Bunny pop up here a couple times when he showed up in WWE. Whether that is a good or bad thing is up to you. You make your thoughts and leave your opinions in the comments down below. The build-up for WrestleMania has been lacking, and having a weak episode on SmackDown this close to the event is not a good look. So they need to hire some more writers. And listen, WWE, I don't you probably want a resume or some shit. I have a resume more in the labor works. I don't have any I could put down storyteller and give you some fucking ideas, but that's it. That's all I can really do. You're gonna take you could take my resume and consider it, but I know it's not gonna happen. But I'm telling you, I could write out some good shit. There's some different things I could fucking I could do to make this show better. All you gotta do is contact me. Fucking, all right? My socials are literally in this fucking, on my channel. You can go check them out. But let's hope WWE can make the last few shows before Mania exciting to help build the anticipation for the, PLE. So overall, we'll give it a C. What did you guys think of SmackDown? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and of course, turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. We are heating up, and we've already got 8 matches for WrestleMania. Let me go down the card here, and still to be determined or announced which ones will be pinned in for night 1, night 2 of WrestleMania. So, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. Stephanie Vakir versus Liv Morgan for the Women's Heavyweight Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the undisputed WWE Championship. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus Obafemi. AJ Lee, of course, and Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship. And Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, unsanctioned. I'm leaving the opening spots, of course, here for the possibility of there being a couple more matches. And, of course, as you know, we have a couple more possibilities here. I'll scroll this down a bit. Possible matchups to be added, of course, the Demon from Balor, Dominic Mysterio without the IC title belt. Of course, Julia and Tiffany Stratton, the original Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. This match right here, Jelly Roll and Danhausen, and of course the Women's Tag Team Championship. And of course, if they ever get Gunther on TV, because I know a lot of people have been talking about it, I've been talking about it too, Gunther versus Chris Jericho. Hopefully. Gunther, it said WWE's reported to have Gunther be in a subsequential or substantial role I think it was subsequential role. He has a subsequential role for WrestleMania. I don't know if Gunther's going to be the host of WrestleMania, because I know how WWE likes to do stupid shit like that. But yeah, whatever the case may be, we know that this is what it's, deemed out to be. But yeah, we have six championship matches, probably more to be added. But I hope this Sami Zayn Trick Williams is just, it gets turned into a ladder match with multiple superstars, because that's what WWE needs. We need a ladder match for the US title. But anyway, I will be back on I'll be back on Tuesday to give you the Raw review, and next week to give you the SmackDown summary as we build up to WrestleMania. Everything is already set for WrestleMania, guys. The streams are up, and you guys can wait for our watch along. Lewis will be here on those days. Of course, we'll be also to celebrate his birthday, because his birthday will be on that Tuesday that I cover, the Tuesday before, the Raw before WrestleMania. So it'll be 4 days from his birthday. You guys can, I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, the 14th of April. But I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace.